So if you're a DoorDash driver, has this happened to you yet? You show up for a standard hand it to me delivery, everything seems normal, and then suddenly the app hits you with PIN required. You're not alone. I had one the other day and the customer looked just as confused as ever. And it feels like these PIN verifications went from almost non existent to like a regular thing overnight for a lot of us drivers. In this video, we're going to break down what this PIN feature is, why DoorDash is rolling it out even more than normal, and the big question on every driver's mind is it actually helping us or just creating a whole new set of headaches and more time? All right, so what's the big deal with these pins? To really get it, you have to look at the number one threat to a driver's account: customer fraud. I'm talking about the classic order never arrived or order never delivered claim. Every dasher out there knows that sinking feeling when you get that alert or that email. You do everything by the book. You get the order on time. You find the right address. You hand the food directly to the customer. And then hours later, you get that dreaded notification for a contract violation. A customer claims they never got their food, and just like that, your account is now at risk. For years, it's been your word against a customer's word. And whose side does DoorDash always take? Not the drivers. And even a photo of the food at the door wasn't enough to save you. DoorDash can honestly care less. People can claim it was the wrong house or that someone swiped it. This is a huge issue. For us drivers, it means worrying about getting deactivated for something that we didn't even do. We delivered it properly. For DoorDash, it means losing tons of money on refunds for orders that were delivered just fine. And for the honest customers out there, it means higher fees to cover all of that fraud to begin with. This isn't some small, rare problem either. Some restaurants say that up to 2% of their delivery orders end up with a refund request, and a lot of those are bogus, never received claims. We've been asking for better protection for years. The old signature thing was honestly a clunky mess. Nobody really wanted to ever hand over their phone to a stranger. So DoorDash needed a better way to get a digital handshake, some real proof that the order got to the right person. Their answer, which looks a lot like what Uber Eats has been doing for literally years, and that was the 4-digit PIN. That's how it came about. Let's quickly run through how this PIN system is supposed to work. It's pretty simple, but the way that it rolled out has been a little confusing for everyone. So for a lot of handed-to-me orders, DoorDash is making the PIN verification for the customer their new default. This means that the customer, if they don't want it to be a PIN delivery, it actually has to go and then toggle this on at the point of sale or the point where they're paying for it, and they need to turn it off if they don't want it. The problem is many customers honestly have no idea that it was even turned on to begin with, because it's now a default when a customer chooses hand it to me, which leads to that awkward confusion sometimes at the door, and the customer's like, wait, what PIN? So here's the plan. A customer places an order, and for many, the app automatically makes it a PIN delivery and gives them a 4-digit code if they're doing a hand it to me. The driver picks up the order, sees that it's a PIN required notice in the app, and then at drop off, the driver has to ask the customer for their PIN number. You type in the code into your app, and if it's all right, the delivery is officially complete. The whole point is to have undeniable proof that you and the customer were in the same spot and the handoff actually happened. It's meant to be simple, secure information, but as we all know, what sounds good in a meeting doesn't always work out perfectly in the real world, especially of late night deliveries. Okay, so let's talk about the good stuff because, in theory, this has some real upsides. The number one pro is the PIN system is driver protection. When a customer gives you that PIN, it's a digital signature. It makes it almost impossible for them to lie and say that the order never really showed up. For any driver who's been unfairly slapped with a contract violation, this is a massive relief. It's a security blanket that gives you a peace of mind, especially when you're delivering in areas known for scams. I feel like we all have those areas and we know what they are. This system holds everyone accountable. The customer is accountable for getting their order. The driver is accountable for getting it to the right person. It also adds a layer of security that customers can appreciate since it helps ensure their food doesn't get left with a neighbor or grabbed by someone else. In a perfect world, this is a win-win. It cuts down on fraud, protects drivers, saves DoorDash money, and makes sure customers get what they paid for. Many drivers who also work for Uber Eats, where PINs have been around much longer, know how well it could shut down scammers. After years of asking for a real tool to fight fraud, DoorDash finally actually gave us one. But of course, there's reality. And it's a reality on driving, and it's a little bit messy. While the PIN system helps with one big problem, it brings a bunch of new frustrations and even some risks for drivers. The first thing you'll notice is how much it actually slows you down. Time is money when you're working the DoorDash app or even the gig economy. And every second you're stuck at a door at a customer's house is a second that you're not earning money. These PIN drop-offs just take longer. That's the bottom line. You have to wait for a customer to answer the door. Hopefully they actually answered the door. Wait for them to find their PIN on the app, and then sometimes you have to explain what the PIN even is because they're totally clueless. A 30-second drop off can easily turn into a 3-minute ordeal, and that really adds up over a shift and hits your earnings. Not to mention if the customer isn't even available, and then you have to wait for that 2-minute timer to count down before you can actually leave it and take a picture. Then there is the safety issue. Part of being a delivery driver is going to places you don't know, often sometimes late at night. The job is built for quick, low contact drop offs. The PIN system forces you to wait around. Standing on a dark porch while a stranger fumbles with their phone can make you feel like a sitting duck and extremely uncomfortable, especially at night and in the dark. That extra time just increases the risk in situations that can already feel sometimes sketchy, especially if you're delivering at night to neighborhoods that you really don't feel safe in. I don't know about you, but I avoid a lot of neighborhoods during the nighttime because of situations like this. I feel like this puts drivers even in a bigger risk in bad areas. You can always use a DoorDash safety tool. And finally, the system is only good as the people who use it. A lot of customers try to be helpful, just put their PIN in the delivery leave at door notes. Sure, it makes the drop off faster, but it completely defeats the whole entire purpose of the feature to begin with. If the PIN is right there in the notes, it doesn't prove that you actually handed it to anyone, and it leaves the door wide open for the same old scams. Here's a pro tip though I'm going to tell you. If a customer does this while you're on delivery, still take a picture and message them the picture of the drop off so you have proof that you actually did do the delivery and you're not falling for another customer scam. I don't know about you, but I have been getting a lot of PIN required deliveries in the past couple of weeks, and I feel like it's more and more every single day, and a lot of it has to do with that default setting. Before, we used to think, and it was kind of an unknown fact, that the PIN required meant that the customer usually reported that the order was never delivered to their house. That's not the case anymore. I guess by making it a default, they're not discriminating what customers do or don't report Dashers for not delivering their food, but it really is an overall safety for the driver. Have you been noticing lately a lot more PIN required orders? Go ahead, let me know. This new PIN requirement, honestly, it's a pretty big shift on how we work the DoorDash app, how we do our deliveries. It's a direct shot at a problem we've been dealing with for a while now, but the rollout has been a mixed bag. On one hand, it's a potential great tool to protect us from false claims, something we've desperately needed. On the other hand, it could slow you down. It sometimes creates an awkward situation with customers if they don't even know they have a PIN number. And sometimes it puts you in a risky situation if it's in a bad neighborhood or it's late at night. So what does this mean for us out there doing DoorDash, us out on the road? It means we have to stay sharp. We need to know when to get the PIN number, pay attention to the app, and when it's okay for a customer to say, hey, I don't have a PIN, and know to partner with support. And then we have to keep giving DoorDash feedback on what's working and what isn't, if they'll actually listen. DoorDash, if you're listening, you might want to look in the comments if you get any feedback. This feature is still new. It is still being rolled out to more markets, and whether it gets better will depend if the company actually listens to its drivers and how it can effectively help us and the customer. And we're the ones that are dealing with it every single day on a lot of our deliveries. But now I want to hear from you. How has the new PIN feature been for you in your market? Is it active in your market yet? Do you think that it's helpful or just another pain in the butt? Or have you had a negative experience with it yet? Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments below. Sharing your experience helps all of us figure out what's really going on, especially with features such as this. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more information about the DoorDash app from this experienced driver. Every bit of this support helps the channel grow and lets me keep making content for our DoorDash community. You know, DoorDash has been doing some updates to the app, and this time it's in the form of notifications that are completely useless. You're going to want to check this video out next to learn all about them, and I'll see you over there.